Hello, garden lovers, and welcome to Marvin Garden, August 2020. Yes, 2020, that infamous year. But it hasn't affected the garden too much, thankfully. So here we are. It's into the third week of August, as is typical for my shooting times. I think we need to start where most gardeners start, at least most gardeners within the family that kind of like to do gardening videos on a monthly basis. Oh, shut up. Let's start with chives. And chives are right here, and they're looking fine. Right next to them is two varieties of basil. As you may recall, I had some store-bought that I got when my original planting of Asian basil, or sweet Thai, was not doing very well, and but they have actually outgrown the purple basil that I got at the store. So we're kind of happy about that. And these little flowers, they are delicious, edible, and are great on salads and stuff like that. Going towards the left here on the herb garden, you might notice a row of interesting plants back in the back there. Those are what I think are pond irises that have come up all over the garden, and I decided to just put a row of them in the back there. May be sorry because they might choke out every other herb that's in here, but that's the way it goes. Now you'll see a sign there that says sage, but you won't see any sage behind it because I've not only not been able to keep them alive, but even when I reseed them, I can't seem to get them to come up. Those are just weeds that are there now. However, the German wintertime, get it, has been doing great, and we've been using that in lots of dishes. It's just does really nicely here. It likes it here. The rosemary, however, finally gave up the ghost over here. It doesn't like it here, but it likes it over in no man's land. And I'll show you that when we get over here. Here's the garlic chives, and poor Coco there, he's just sort of engulfed in these things, but we love it because it means they're thriving, blooming, as you can see, and they'll be coming back as gangbusters next year as well. Now, so let's venture over to bed number one. I don't know if you can see the threatening nature of the clouds up there, but it's been a typical summer pattern for months now, with the threat of afternoon thunderstorms, and sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. No difference today. And today we're very close to 90 degrees. It's a very August-y kind of day. And bed one, we've got radishes. I think this is like the third planting of radishes, and I think I'm due to actually to pull them, but I haven't bothered yet. Behind them, a couple of rows of carrots that kind of came in phases. I had some spotty germination, and then I replanted them, and that stuff came up spotty too. But they're doing pretty well. I think we're going to get a good crop of them. We've got lots of carrots from the first planting still in the fridge, and these are later plantings of brassicas. I think most of these are actually cabbage, and they're starting to come in on their own. We've got that one oddball Brussels sprouts guy that's out there. He's doing okay. And here we got a mixture of broccoli and cauliflower that are doing okay. Not really thriving, but I think they'll do better. and you know, as time goes on, and especially as the weather gets cooler. And we've got much less, in fact, I'm not seeing any right now, in the category of whiteflies, which makes me very happy. Now here's the official stand of Brussels sprouts, and as you can probably see, we've got lots of them. I've pretty much just been letting them go and not harvesting very much so far. I kind of like seeing these stalks all full of them, so I'm not in a real hurry to pull them up, and they don't deteriorate, you know, letting them stay there for a while. So that's what I'm gonna do. You know, oh, here is, by the way, the rosemary that I talked about that's doing okay over here. Am I getting that? Not very well. Marvin. And a companion marigold, which comes up all over the place. But here's another one. Probably, if they continue to be healthy, we'll dig those up and take them inside to winter over, which will be the second year of them wintering over. Now, this, like I said, is no man's land, and this is where I planted extra summer squash. And let's see, you can probably see down there, if I can get it aimed in. You can't really tell, but that's a really good size golden yellow zucchini, which I just count as yellow squash. And right over here is a very good size harvestable today zucchini. And the memorial area is looking flowery and nice, and our little shall we say sleeping dachshund looks very peaceful, so we like that, right, Frankie boy? Good boy. He likes to follow us around. Okay, I skipped over one section. I'll come around and show you that later. But this is Scarlet Runner beans, and we've had lots of Scarlet Runner blooms, but a surprisingly small amount of Scarlet Runner beans, although those are 3 right there. Sometimes you can get totally overwhelmed with those guys, but this year they just seem to be kind of slow in producing. That's a harvestable size one right there, and here's a cluster of brand new ones coming in, but like I say, we just haven't had a lot of them, but they've been growing and look pretty healthy. Now, in comparison, this stand of okra is the most amazing stand of okra I've ever had, literally. They are easily 6 foot tall. They're almost trees, you know, when you get right down to it. Every day there's more full-size pods to harvest, and I actually like them. They're more of a southern vegetable for making gumbo and that sort of thing, but I really like them pan-fried with a little bit of bacon, something else. Anyway, these are, like I say, at least 6 feet tall, and just producing like crazy, and I can't complain about that. So that's pretty good. I still have not, well, there's Cassie. I still have not gotten myself a trailer load of manure, so this is all just vegetable matter from the garden that's been added, and I'm hoping that I'll get out there to get a load of manure if I can swing it in the coming week. Now, that brings us to this glorious development, which is the grow house. Well, the grow house itself, we'll talk about that in a minute, but as you can see, a glorious development is that very large pumpkin And now I think things are cleared out enough that you can see over right there another very large and very orange pumpkin. Now you can see a lot of the leaves have deteriorated, but there's also a lot of very good healthy vine growth, so I'm not too concerned. I think, you know, it's only 2 plants in there. I've got 1 big pumpkin per plant, which is all I was really hoping for. So that's pretty good. Now, let's move over here to summer squash in particular, if I can point. Oh, that's the wrong way, Marv. There you go. That's a Sunburst summer squash that is ready to go. I've culled some of the plants here. Well, I guess just one of them actually, because I only planted 3. But there's some more coming in here. You can see a little one way down there. So these guys are still going, and we'll talk about more about that in a minute. Now, this is bed number 2, and this is where all the onions were last year. I mean, not last year. Well, they were here last year, but I'm talking about last month. And I think I actually have a video of us taking the onions and bagging them up and stuff like that. So take a look at that, and then we'll come back. All right, so it's a little past the middle of August, not very far past, and we're about to do a August event that I thought you might like to at least be involved with a little bit. So we start by coming here into the greenhouse, and in the middle of August, since these guys have been out here drying for, I'd say a good 2 weeks, it's time to put them into mesh bags and bring them inside. I've got all my mesh bags left over from previous years, and this process we go through and kind of squeeze each one before we add it, and if we find one that's got a mushy spot, we put that aside, and the ones that have a little mush spots get consumed first, so we put those in a bag by themselves. I think we're in pretty good shape though for having good dried onions, partially because I decided to clip the tops off before I even started the drying process, so I think they dried a little faster and a little more thoroughly. So that's the story of what's happening today, onion harvest, and I'll give you a peek at what we ended up with, and I'll weigh them all too. So we'll see you in a few. So here's what we ended up with. That's about 30 pounds or so of candy onions, and I forgot to mention that the garlic is also being harvested, and that's 3 pounds of that plus. And then about 22 pounds of Patterson, they dried the best, and 20 pounds of Red Wing, which is those 2 bags. Back here, I also neglected to mention that those are purple bunching onions that we left in too long, so they actually bulbed. So we've got about, I think, 10 pounds of that too. And unfortunately, we also got 20 pounds of onions with soft mushy spots on them, so those will be flagged to be used first. We'll probably just cook up a whole batch of them, salvage what we can. Okay, so yeah, that was like onions. And so as you may or may not remember, I don't like to have, well, let's put it this way, I like to have no vacancies in the garden as long as I possibly can. So what happens after this entire bed of onions is harvested, we replant it. So that's what we've got going here. These are Vortex Beans, and ordinarily I would plant the Scarlet Runners here, but my Vortex Bean seeds were late, so I decided to put them in the late planting. So we'll see how they do. Next row is sunflowers, more of that strawberry lemonade mix. Then borage, which grown for a couple of years now and seems to do well. Calendula, followed by, my first attempt at turnips. Again, because of my my brother from another mother who's growing his own garden in Vermont, and they had good luck with turnips. And it looks like I've got time to grow them before the frost sets in, so I'm trying them out here. And this is a row of bunching onions, deep purple, coming in pretty good. And this is supposed to be ansis. I think that's anise. I don't know how you pronounce it. What am I supposed to? I just grow the stuff. Anyway, that's a weed. They're slow in coming up, but I think they are coming up. And this is lemon Gem Marigold, which we've grown before. And I think you can see those guys coming up. As well as I got a row of spinach going here. Never say die with spinach, but so far they look pretty good. I need to thin them out a little bit, I think. And I planted some more of the volunteer, what I think are pond irises, coming up here just because I had the space to do it. Now, here is my summer planting, my August planting of summer squash. So they have not started to produce yet, but they're getting big, and I'm getting male blooms. In fact, even as I'm seeing right now, that is a female blossom that's getting ready to bloom on a zucchini. My plan is to have these guys starting to produce when the original plantings slow down and stop producing, which is what they're doing right now. So I've planted all of them out here. I may cull a few plants because they get big, but so far they're looking healthy, and I like that. Now, let's talk about bee balm. Bee balm just goes south once it gets to August. They're done for. They're not going to look any better than this, or any better than what they were back in July. They just that's what they do. Next to that, we've got lots of eggplant. These are Barbarella. We've been very happy with them. Maybe not getting as many as in other years, but they're so big and luscious. I think you can see in there, and round. They're just delightful for. Excuse me. I need to get rid of this weed right now. And we've given away some to the local food pantry and our next door neighbors. So they're doing very well, and they haven't been too infected by flea beetles this year either, so that's good. Now, this is peanuts, and the peanuts have finally filled out to pretty much cover the beds. Now, I don't know if you can see, but the far side there, they're a little sparse. I think we had some varmint that was kind of chewing off the leaves. So, but I think we'll get a fair amount. It looks pretty healthy, and I've seen a lot of blooms. Now, this structure, let me show you this. I managed to improve on this structure a little bit. I put this cross member in, figured out how to do that. I also took one layer of the screen off because I thought it was a little bit too much blocking of the sun. And so this at least looks a lot nicer. And I've got some spinach in here, some lettuce that was really spotty in its germination. So I might try replanting some more of that because it doesn't mind the cold weather. And you may notice the animated leaves over there. Well, that's Mr. Franklin, probably frog hunting. He's pretty sure he's got something in there. That's why the tail's going so wild. Just don't dig up the peanuts, boy. Oh, and while we're on the back side here, you can see the number of eggplant that are coming in, and Barbarella is like what I said. I think I said was what the variety is, but nice stuff. Now that brings us to tomatoes, and although we've had a pretty good yield of tomatoes, they do not look good anymore. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is a blight of some sort, but you can see they've all the vines have deteriorated. They're still blooming. They're still yielding tomatoes, but just aren't looking good at all. And then our one store-bought one just died altogether. There's just nothing left. So we've still managed to put away about 20 quarts of tomato sauce, so I can't really complain, but I don't know what happened to them. Anyway, now the ground cherries, which is what you're looking at now, as you can see, the plants have severely deteriorated, but they've been yielding like crazy, and there's a lot of those that are probably on the floor or on the ground there that are harvestable and very edible. And of course, Frankie's been helping himself in there too. So, I mean, that's mainly who we grow them for anyway. All right, so that brings us over to bed number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd think I remember this stuff. And at the front of the bed here are peppers, and the peppers have been doing fine. We've frozen quite a bit. You can see nice bell peppers turning bright red. These are like jalapenos, felicities, green and red. These are Mad Hatters, mostly green, but we've gotten a few red ones, which is what we're waiting for. You can see some orangish ones tucked in there. And the Mad Hatters, they grow so tall. I was not expecting that. They're just towering over everything else. Anyway, that brings us back to the first planting of summer squash. And as you can see, which is typical for summer squash and squash in general, the leaves are deteriorating, and they're slowing down in production. But look at what we got right there, a very fine harvestable today green zucchini. And there's a couple, oops, I'm not aiming very well, sorry. There we go. There's a couple down there. The one on top is too small, but the one underneath, which you can barely see, is probably just about harvestable. And I thought I saw another huge one over here someplace, but oh yeah, this is one that's one of those zucchinis that got away. It's bigger than it should be, but so far these zucchinis have proven themselves to be just fine, even in the larger size. The seeds are still small and totally edible. All right, where are we now? I think we're over here to the end of the grow house, and our sunflowers are a little worse for the wear, but still blooming and still pleasant to look at. Some of these are that strawberry mix, which is the same thing we're growing over in bed number 2. But some of these are from previous years. These giant guys. That one you can't see very well because of the backlighting, but you might be able to see this guy, which is bent over from its own weight, and just a very fine specimen. Speaking of fine specimens, well, I'm not getting the leaves out of the way very well, am I? But anyway, there's another nice golden zucchini. And there's Frankie checking things out. You might think that there's a frog down there too. Now, I want to show you a couple other things, and I'm going the wrong way, so hang on, let me get around here. First, I want to show you this grow house has really proven to be, should I say, a piece of crap. That screening, and this is the second season. The screening just deteriorated, so just disintegrated. And in some places early on, I tried to tape it up with duct tape. But obviously, when you have a screen like that, it doesn't keep out the bugs. So what I'm going to have to do is take some of this stuff, which is actually a floating row cover fabric, and completely cover the whole lower portion, which means I'm really replacing almost everything except for the the nylon grid that gives it structure. So anyway, it seems like the pumpkins have made it okay, so I'm not too upset about that. But all right, so here is another one of my August plantings, and I'm trying to get you can see those little blades of grass kind of things are leek. Yes, Dawn Giant. Now these leeks, these seeds came from Burpee, and they advertised them as a summer planting, but they also listed them as 90 or 98 days to maturity. So I'm trying to do the math on that, and although they're frost and freeze tolerant, I'm not sure I'm going to get myself some leeks by then. But my plan is, if I do, to take the leeks and the turnips, which are over here, and make some fall turnip leek soup, which I don't know how it'll taste, but I'm willing to give it a shot. All right, let's venture out to the external bed and see what's going on out there. First of all, you may notice that this pumpkin vine has made its way quite a ways from the actual asparagus bed, and this is a recently pollinated pumpkin. Here's another one that's threatening to open so that it can be pollinated, and that's very late for these guys to be doing that. Now over here is where there was a pumpkin, and it actually aborted, so we had to take that out. And here typically you see the early leaves and vines that are deteriorating and getting a little mildewy and moldy looking. And I don't know if I showed you this time, I can't remember but Vanina discovered last month that hidden back in there among the asparagus is in fact a pumpkin, and it's a pretty good size, and it's orange, and that is in complement with this guy right here, which is also very nice sized and orange. But the curious thing is that look at here, we've got a couple more that have been pollinated and are starting to grow. Now, I don't expect them to do anything because it's so late for a pumpkin to get started. But it's kind of fun that this, which was just, these pumpkins were just planted as a, well, let's see how they do out there. And looks like we're going to at least get a couple of good pumpkins from them. And then on the far side here, we've got another a zucchini plant that was just, you know, an afterthought because I had the space, and it's been producing all summer long. I think I picked one today, as a matter of fact, from out of there, and it was a good size one too. All right, so that brings us to the Sky Manor Swamp, or marsh, or bog, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm very happy to show you and report that I got 3 full-size cattails that look fine, and a number of cattail plants that came back, even though it doesn't look like they're going to produce any cattails at all. But all in all, I'm very happy that I at least got cattails to come back, and more importantly, that I actually got some cattails, some real live cattails. Okay, so let's go inside, or back inside, I should say. Can you guys hear the thunder? Alright, so what else have we got to show them, guys? I think we can find... Oh, I did want to show you one thing. I showed you the video of us you know, taking all the onions from being cured and getting them into their mesh bags, and we have subsequently got them all in the refrigerator. But I did do something else, which I don't know if you'll realize this, but you're kind of looking at a mirror image of what it used to be. And that's simply because I thought having the chairs on this side and the racks on this side would make for a better view when you're sitting in the chairs, because you'd actually be able to see the fire in case the fire pit's going. And also a better view from the fire pit through the greenhouse, because you wouldn't be looking at the back of high back chairs. It is threatening around here. Alright, oh, let me show you the half barrel fountains. This one doesn't look much as far as anything significant that's different, except for that everybody seems happy in there. But this one, you can see a lovely water hyacinth bloom. And the last time we were out here, I mean the last time I was here a couple days ago, there were 3 of them that were blooming profusely. So that's always nice. Haven't seen them blooming either in the pond or in my overflow tub where I keep overflow water hyacinths. That's a nice little trumpet vine flower. They've been coming in pretty good this year. In fact, we've really let this canopy grow, and as you can see, it's really kind of nice. Alright, so while I'm here, I guess I'll show you this half barrel planter, which is mostly now Vincas, I think. There might be, some of it might be impatiens. And one of our Christmas poinsettias, which is doing fine out here. Of course, it's all green. It's not doing the red leaf thing, but I might have to bring it in and put it in the closet or something to make that happen. Anyway, let's see. There's Frank. He's not coming here. All right. So, what's happening in the pond, you ask? I'll show you. You can see there's a lot of happy plant growth. A couple of little blooming lilies down there. Lots of water hyacinth, none of which are blooming. We got lots of pickerel rush that has been blooming all summer, and I don't know if you can see. Well, I'll try to get in close. This little, I don't know, lily of some sort on the tall stalk that's blooming pretty happily as well. And the pond area in general is just looking at its summer finest. And we decided to move these cement benches from around the sundial to over here because it was just too crowded around the sundial to ever even sit in them. This is our, pond plant overflow tub, which usually is inhabited by a few frogs. I haven't checked lately. But you can see there's a bunch of healthy-looking water hyacinths and some pond irises there. Like I say, the pond irises, the water hyacinth have not been blooming. Nothing much to show you over there, except for you can see in the distance the asparagus plants are still going on. But I do have something to show you over here that I didn't even know was here until Vanina pointed it out to me. And this is going to just blow you away. It's a peach. It's also got a bug on it. Get out of here, you. One peach. And it's looking green now, but August is peach harvest month, so we're going to keep our eye on it. But I'm so thrilled that it looks like one has survived. There's nothing on the nectarine tree, there's nothing on the pear tree, but we got ourselves one potential peach. Now, what else do I have to show you? I don't think I have anything to show you. I hope maybe you're getting a feel for the incoming. What am I doing here? I want to do this. The incoming, what appears to be an incoming thunderstorm. The breeze has picked up. It's getting darker, although I'm sure you won't see that on the video because video is very tolerant about changing light conditions. But the lights have even come on in the back of the minibar in the spotlights, and the wind's kicking up. But let's see, is there anything? I don't think there's anything else I need to show you. I think that's it for August 2020 Marvin Gardens. We're still in the what I call the high holy days of gardening, meaning that everything's producing and there are no significant vacancies around, which is the way I like it. And yeah, that's about it. We're having a good summer here. Hope you guys are having a good summer out there. We're having a good gardening year. Although we're about to get, I think, pummeled by a thunderstorm, which is par for the course for summer, you know what I mean? I don't mind a good thunderstorm. Anyway, like I say, I hope you guys are having a great summer. We're having a fine one, good gardening year, and we'll see you all next month if we survive this storm in September. Bye, y'all.